Members, the Honorable Senator Aquino, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Soto III, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camille, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Zubiri. Senate President is present.
With 20 senators present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the journal of the second session, Tuesday, July 28, 2026, and consider the same as approved. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We have a guest with us today in the gallery, guest of Senator Alan Cayetano, local officials of San Remigio, Antique, led by Mayor Mar Michon Jr., and of course, our dear friend, no other than the Ambassador of Japan, Ambassador Endo Kazuya, is with us as well.
We welcome the guests of Senator Cayetano to the Senate of the Philippines, and of course, we welcome Ambassador Endo to the Senate of the Philippines.
To proceed with the important items of the agenda, Mr. President, I'll just move the reference to business a bit later, if with the permission of the body. Mr. President, I move that we consider Senate Resolution number 502. May I ask the Secretary, Mr. President, to read the title of the measure?
Wala pa. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the Secretary is directed to read the title of the resolution.
Resolution expressing the sense of the Senate in recognizing the enduring friendship between the Republic of the Philippines and Japan and commemorating the 70th anniversary of the normalization of diplomatic relations between the two countries.
May I,
Majority
Mr.
Leader.
President, with your permission, may I sponsor the
Yes,
said measure?
the Majority Leader is recognized to sponsor the resolution.
Konnichiwa, Mr. President.
Konnichiwa.
Mr. President, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Mr. President, as head of the Philippine-Japan Parliamentarians Association, it is my great honor to stand here today to sponsor our resolution commemorating 70 years since the normalization of diplomatic relations between the Philippines and Japan. Dearest colleagues, if you will allow, I would like to also take this opportunity to report to all of you our recent trip to Japan, which is very much related to our resolution today. Last July 23, 2026 was the exact date of the commemoration of 70 years of normalization of diplomatic relations between our two countries. And over these 70 years, Japan has emerged as one of our closest and most important friends and allies. Just last May, in fact, we elevated our bilateral relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership during the state visit of the President to Japan. Our partnership with Japan is built upon a broad base of cooperation across infrastructure development, trade and investments, security and defense, disaster resilience and management, health, energy, education, and agriculture, tourism, and peace and reconciliation efforts, among others. A few weeks ago, Senator J.V. Ejercito and I had the opportunity to affirm this elevated partnership during our mini parliamentary visit in Tokyo. I say mini because we are hoping to have a bigger one later on during the break where we can meet the incumbent Prime Minister. For a series of events, we met with them last week, organized by the Sasakawa Peace Foundation and the Philippine Embassy in Tokyo as part of the commemorative activities for the 70th year of Philippine-Japan friendship. The commemoration began with a symposium titled Charting New Frontiers, Building the Next 70 Years of Philippine-Japan Partnership. It was well attended by Japanese government officials, scholars, academicians, political pundits, businessmen, media, and the Filipino community in Japan. I spoke about the strengthened defense and security partnerships between the Philippines and Japan brought about by the recent developments and enactments of both countries, such as the Reciprocal Access Agreement and the inclusion by the Japanese cabinet of the Official Security Assistance Policy Framework in the Japanese National Security Strategy, which paved the way for the Japanese government to provide military equipment and supplies to the Philippines, such as radars, Abukuma-class destroyers, Coast Guard vessels, and soon missile systems. I mentioned in my speech that this kind of defense and security partnership among like-minded countries in our region is crucial in maintaining an open and free Indo-Pacific. On July 9, 2026, immediately upon landing in Tokyo, Senator Ejercito and I hit the ground running with a meeting with Ambassador Milen Garcia Albano. We then met and joined the Tokyo Metropolitan Governor herself, very popular governor, Mr. President, the Honorable Koike Yuriko, in the illumination ceremony of the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building's facade, where they showed both the Philippines and Japanese flags proudly. The following day, we had a full schedule of meetings. We first met with the Japan International Cooperation Agency's officials, headed by their president, Dr. Tanaka Akihiko. As we all know, the Japan government through JICA has been the largest, and let me repeat, the largest donor country for official development assistance contribution to the Philippines for over the past several decades. Dr. Tanaka gave us a briefing of their current and future activities and initiatives in the Philippines. We also thank them for JICA's development projects in the country, such as the Metro Manila Subway Project and the Bataan-Cavite Interlink Bridge, which is touted to be Southeast Asia's longest bridge once finished. After which, we had a mini reunion with the Honorable Moriyama-san, or Moriyama Horishi, an influential leader of the Liberal Democratic Party and our Japanese counterpart for being the chairman of the Japan-Philippines Friendship League. We also met with Dr. Tsunami Atsushi, the president of the Sasakawa Peace Foundation, or SPF, who organized the commemorative events. The SPF is involved in peace and human resource development programs, policy research, and the provision of academic scholarships. We had a casual but productive meeting with our dear friend. Many of you have met him before. No other than the former Japanese Prime Minister Kishida Fumio, who is the special envoy of Japanese Prime Minister Takaishi Sanae and the supreme advisor to the Parliamentary Association of the Asia Zero Emissions Community. We discussed the strengthening and the elevation of the Philippine-Japan partnership into comprehensive strategic partnership, as well as the reduction of carbon emissions in the region. We learned from the former Prime Minister, who is still a member of the Japanese Diet, that there is a stronger interest and support for the Philippines from the Japanese Diet. On the issue of trade and economy, we met with the State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Kuminitsu Ayano, who we touched on the possibility of reviewing and upgrading the Philippine-Japan Economic Partnership Agreement to benefit our Filipino businesses. Senator Ejercito raised with the State Minister, who, by the way, is a medical doctor by profession and a former official in the Japanese Health Ministry, the Japanese government's experience in universal health care. She is open to facilitating a Lakbay Aral program for our members and the Filipino policymakers on this issue. One of the highlights of our trip was that Senator Ejercito and I gained a new friend in the person of a charismatic and social media savvy Defense Minister, Koizumi Shinjiro, very popular minister, who probably one day might become Prime Minister as well, who is one of the staunch supporters of the Japanese Parliament, one of our strongest supporters in the Japanese Parliament and in the region of defense and security cooperation between our two countries in the maintenance of a free and open Indo-Pacific. He also mentioned that we are working to provide the Philippine Navy Abukuma-class destroyers. These are the ones in the picture, Mr. President. They're budgeting a substantial amount for official security assistance for the Philippines next year. To cap our schedule on that day, we also met with members of the House of Councilors. This is the equivalent of our Senate in the Japanese legislature. From the Japanese Sansieto Party, they were Honorable Ando Hiroshi, Matsuda Manabu, and Yamanaka Sen. Sansieto is actually the opposition party in the House of Councilors, but when it comes to cooperation and partnership with the Philippines, they are one of our most ardent supporters. Mr. President, we met both with public and private sector partners in Japan who share with us a vision of an economically stable Indo-Pacific region ruled by peaceful relations and respect for international law. This shared vision and our shared principles as like-minded democracies are at the heart of our 70 years of friendship. Building upon our decades of friendship, Japan has become an invaluable development partner, supporting projects of various scales, from grassroots waste management program at the municipal level to major transportation projects such as the Metro Manila Subway Project and the North-South Commuter Railway that will drastically improve the daily transit of millions of Filipinos. And they are also have become our most dependable defense partner, extending billions of official security assistance in support of our armed forces and humanitarian response, further strengthened by a reciprocal access agreement. And also, they have helped us in the peace process many times over. As a matter of fact, they're on the ground now in the BARM, helping ensure that there will be honest and peaceful elections for our brothers in the BARM region. We are deeply grateful for their heightened cooperation on those issues, defense, security, and sovereignty, anchored in our common principles such as like-minded democracy seeking to build genuine peace to make way for genuine progress. To make way for such progress, the Japan-Philippines Economic Partnership Agreement, and more recently, the RCEP, or the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, have been instrumental in paving the way for an influx of trade and investments that have led to Japan becoming our second largest trading partner, Mr. President. Japan now is our second largest trading partner and the third largest source of foreign direct investment. These agreements would not have been secured without the coordination and alignment between our respective executive bodies and parliaments. I'm particularly grateful to the members of the Japan-Philippines Parliamentary League who always advocate for the Philippine cause in their Japanese parliament and government. We do have a voice in the Japanese parliament, Mr. President, and I thank them all for supporting this 70 years of friendship. Through our strong parliamentary ties, we had the honor of inviting Prime Minister Kishida Fumio to address the historic joint session of the Philippine Congress in 2023. It's historic because it was the first time a leader of the leader of Japan delivered an address before us. In turn, President Marcos also invited to deliver the equally historic address before the National Diet of Japan during his state visit this year. The deep friendship between our countries is proof positive that there is a way forward for those who choose a path of unity and cooperation. Who would have thought, my dear colleagues and my dear friends, the Filipino people, who would have thought, given our very complicated history, that we could have forged a strong friendship that we enjoy today? It is well-earned, it is a well-earned partnership that we have made even stronger by our conscious choice to pursue reconciliation, unity, and cooperation, which we are pursuing even in the Senate today. Reconciliation, unity, and cooperation. I'm confident that we can parlay these 70 years of friendship with this golden age of Philippines-Japan relations into a shared future of peace and prosperity. And before I end, I want to also give credit where credit is due. The last 3 years have been very productive in Japan-Philippine friendship relationships, friendship and cooperation, Mr. President, due to their Ambassador Endo, who has been in the forefront of developing closer ties between our two countries. He's about to leave next month on August, Mr. President. We will miss him deeply. He will be a loss to us, but I'm sure whoever his counterpart will be that come in, we will be able to work with as well. But we will definitely miss Ambassador Endo. So, kay Ambassador Endo at sa ating mga kapatid na Hapon, domo arigato gozaimasu. Maraming salamat at mabuhay po ang ating pagkakaibigan. Mabuhay. Salamat po, Mr. President.
Arigato gozaimasu, Senator Zubiri. Yes, we recognize Senator Tulfo.
Mr. President, I would like to take this chance to extend my heartfelt sympathies and steadfast solidarity to the government of Japan and the people of Kumamoto Prefecture following the 7.1 magnitude earthquake that struck the region yesterday, July 28, 2026. My prayers are with the victims, the bereaved families who have lost their loved ones, and many individuals who have been injured or displaced by this tragic event. I believe that Japan, particularly Kumamoto, and affected residents will recover and rebuild safely and courageously. Mr. President, as to proposed Senate Resolution number 502, I would like to express my firm and unwavering support for the adoption of this resolution, recognizing the enduring friendship between the Republic of the Philippines and Japan, and commemorating the 70th anniversary of the normalization of diplomatic relations between our two sovereign nations. Mr. President, I'm a proud product of this friendship between the Philippines and Japan. As many of you know, I carry the Japanese middle name Teshiba because I'm a third-generation Nekijin, a Filipino-Japanese descent. My beloved mother, the late Caridad Teshiba Tulfo, was born to a Japanese father who came to the Philippines during World War II. According to the Philippine Nikijin Center, only a small number of Nikijin remain in the country today. That being said, I deeply value my family's heritage and the ties with Japan. Beyond our family history, the relationship of Japan and the Philippines is one that is rooted in mutual trust and respect. And 70 years of that is truly a remarkable milestone. Today, Japan is not merely a neighbor, but is one of the Philippines' most trusted strategic partners. Japan remains to be the Philippines' top source of official development assistance, or ODA, funding major infrastructure projects like railways, highways, and disaster relief systems. Japan's assistance to the Philippine Coast Guard to boost our maritime security capabilities is a vital pillar in upholding the rule of law, protecting international sea lanes, and maintaining regional stability. Time and again, Japan has stood by us and consistently shown true friendship, delivering immediate relief assistance, technical expertise, and long-term rebuilding support to our government. Additionally, more than 50,000 Filipinos thrive in Japan as skilled workers, healthcare professionals, engineers, and scholars. We are thankful for Japan's generosity in welcoming our workers to the country. And truth be told, Japan is the top outbound international destination for Filipino travelers in 2026, with nearly 500,000 visitors in the first half of this year alone. Again, Mr. President, I reaffirm our unyielding friendship with Japan. Adopting Senate Resolution number 502 sends a very strong message of the Philippine Senate's appreciation for Japan's friendship over the years. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Tulfo, for that sponsorship speech. We recognize...
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we recognize, we have a list.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, thank
Go
you.
ahead, Majority
With the permission
Leader.
of our colleagues. Next to co-sponsor the measure is Senator Ejercito, after which will be Senator Villanueva, Senator Tulfo, Erwin Tulfo, and Senator Padilla. And after which will be the Minority Leader as last to co-sponsor or give a manifestation.
All right, we recognize the gentleman from San Juan, Senator J.V. Ejercito.
Thank you, Mr. President, dear colleagues. Our good friend, Ambassador Endo Kazuya, konnichiwa, good afternoon. On behalf of the Filipinos, it is with profound joy and gratitude to co-sponsor Senate Resolution number 502 that expresses the sense of the Senate in recognizing and celebrating the enduring friendship between the Republic of the Philippines and Japan as we mark the 70th anniversary of the normalization of our bilateral ties. Mr. President, I would like to co-sponsor, of course, and support our main sponsor, our resident samurai in the Senate now, in the Indian samurai, Senator Zubiri. We were just there just last month, recently. It was a very, very productive visit, Mr. President, and we would like to report. The Philippine-Japan relations have stood the test of time and circumstance. From past adversaries belonging to different camps to the closest of partners and allies, our bond now serves as a firm anchor for stability in the greater Indo-Pacific region. It is only fitting to celebrate this historic landmark in our friendship by elevating our ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership as announced by our respective heads of government in Tokyo last May. This will reflect the strength, the depth, and the breadth of our mutual trust and expanding ties. As this August body commemorates 7 decades of formal diplomatic ties initiated by the San Francisco Peace Treaty and the subsequent reparations agreement, let us likewise recognize that our shared affinity is one that is both deep and ancient. Drawing from the accounts of our historians, the shared history of Japan, the Philippines began long before the arrival of Western explorers. As early as 654 AD, the ancient Japanese chronicle Nihon Shoki notes the arrival of shipwrecked voyagers from Tukara in Kyushu Island, whom a group of scholars identify as our Tagalog ancestors. This serves as a touching reminder that the bond between our two nations isn't just of modern conception. It was forged by the tides of history over a millennium ago. On a more personal note, Mr. President, I also wish to extend my sincere appreciation for the steadfast assistance rendered by the Japanese government since time immemorial. On a personal note, it is during the time of my father, then President Joseph Ejercito Estrada, that he became very close to then Prime Minister Obuchi. As I remember that my father then, who was about to take his oath as President of the Republic, invited Prime Minister Obuchi to his residence, and for the Japanese, it's really a big thing for them, no, to be invited in your personal home. And after that, Japan extended through the ODA the SCTEX, or the Subic-Clark-Tarlac Expressway, which began in 1998, and now we are already reaping the benefits of the construction of the SCTEX. So likewise, in 1998, at the height of the Asian financial crisis, Japan once again stood with the Filipino people through the Miyazawa Initiative, nearly $1.5 billion in official development aid to support economic recovery and essential reforms was provided, highlighting the foresight of former Finance Minister Kiichi Miyazawa. Furthermore, Japanese assistance also complemented our efforts to modernize our agriculture. A vital allocation of $3.75 billion pesos served as a cornerstone in funding the advancement of the Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act. When my good friend and one of the respected statesmen in Japan, former Prime Minister Taro Aso, who was my good friend in the Junior Chamber International, or JCI, was the Japanese foreign minister, the Philippines received $555 million in grants for disaster prevention and maritime safety, which was a clear demonstration of Japan's long-standing dedication to humanitarian and disaster resilience efforts in the Philippines. Fast forward to today, Mr. President, today Japan continues to be one of our most vital and strategic collaborators across a multitude of sectors. Japan and its agencies such as the Japan International Cooperation Agency, or the JICA, remains our single single largest foreign partner in pursuit to overhaul our mass transportation system through a combination of low-interest ODA loans, technical transfer, and structural planning. In a recent visit to Japan, made possible through the invitation of Sasakawa Peace Foundation, along with Senate Majority Leader Zubiri, we had the honor of meeting with Dr. Akihiko Tanaka, President of JICA, to extend our appreciation to the whole JICA team for the steadfast support in promoting infrastructure development through vital official development assistance and foreign-assisted projects. In the field of defense cooperation, Japan has also become one of our most trusted partners and allies. In the same recent visit to Tokyo, we also had the opportunity, as mentioned by Senator Zubiri, to meet with Japanese Defense Minister Shinjiro Koizumi. We commended his leadership in strengthening regional security across the Indo-Pacific. We likewise conveyed our gratitude for Japan's unwavering support of the Philippines' ongoing defense modernization program, particularly the transfer of the Abukuma-class destroyer escorts, that's about 5 or 6, and additional coastal radar systems, which will significantly enhance and strengthen the Philippine Navy's maritime defense and domain awareness capabilities. Not to mention, Mr. President, that they already donated 2 reconnaissance aircraft, Cessna reconnaissance aircraft that is already being used to patrol our shorelines, Mr. President. And likewise, the Coast Guard modern ships that is also being used to patrol our coastlines. So we would like to thank Japan because we direly need those Abukuma class destroyers, not to it is really of course to deterrent. It's for the preservation of our sovereignty, especially in the West Philippine Sea. Because, Mr. President, if we order now, it will take 5 to 6 years for us to be able to receive. But with Japan's turning over of the Abukuma class destroyers, that will greatly enhance and strengthen our Navy's capability. In addition, during our recent visit to the land of the rising sun, we had the honor of meeting Japan's State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Ayano Kunimitsu. As a medical doctor by profession, he shared valuable insights into Japan's healthcare practices and expressed her willingness to facilitate further exchanges and knowledge sharing during our future visits to help us implement our own universal healthcare. As we elevate our bilateral ties to new heights, we also remember with deep respect that late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, a true friend of the Filipino people through his visionary leadership, he helps shape a free and open Indo-Pacific and lay the foundation for the enduring strategic partnerships that our two nations enjoy today. He also announced, I can remember, Mr. President, during one of the state dinners, that Japan will undertake the construction, that was sometime 2016, of the North-South Commuter Railway and the Metro Manila subway system during one of the dinners hosted for then former President Duterte. And now the NSCR construction and Metro Manila subway system is already underway. Hopefully, it will be operational in a few years' time. In closing, before I conclude, Mr. President, allow me to share a personal note. I count myself fortunate to have been among the many Filipinos who have benefited from Japan's generous tradition of knowledge sharing and capacity building. I graduated from the JCI Academy in 1997, and during my first term in the Senate, I had the privilege of attending a short course at the National Graduate Institute for Policy Studies, or GRIPS, in Japan with our Senate Legislative Budget Research and Monitoring, the LBRMO. These opportunities not only enrich my understanding of public policy and governance, but also deepen my admiration for Japan's unwavering commitment to developing leaders and strengthening institutions through education and international cooperation. In closing, Mr. President, this resolution is a humble reflection of the high esteem and deep affection that the Filipino people hold for Japan. As we embark on this new chapter of our comprehensive strategic partnership, we celebrate not just our shared past, but the limitless potential of our future. Indeed, long-standing friendship between the Philippines and Japan stands as a testament to what nations can achieve when united by shared values, mutual trust, and a common vision for peace, prosperity, and endless possibilities. For all these reasons, Mr. President, I proudly co-sponsor this resolution and join the entire Senate in celebrating this historic milestone. Once again, to the government and the people of Japan, arigato gozaimashita. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you
Mr.
very much, Senator J. Vercito. Who's the next
President?
Majority Leader?
Next is our distinguished colleague, Deputy Majority Floor Leader, Senator Joel Villanueva.
We recognize the gentleman from Bulacan, Senator Joel Villanueva.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Leader. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, milestones invite us not only to look back with gratitude, but also to look ahead with renewed purpose. As the Philippines and Japan commemorate 70 years of diplomatic relations, it is fitting that this chamber honors a partnership that has become a pillar of peace, development, and shared prosperity in our region. It is thus my privilege to co-sponsor this proposed Senate Resolution number 502. Before I proceed, please allow me to express our deepest sympathies to the people of Japan following yesterday's devastating earthquake in Kumamoto Prefecture. We mourn the lives lost, pray for the swift recovery of the injured, and stand in solidarity with all those affected by this tragedy. May the resilience and strength of the Japanese people guide them through this difficult time. Mr. President, for 7 decades, the Philippines and Japan have built a relationship founded on mutual respect, trust, and a shared commitment to peace and prosperity. Today, that friendship has grown into a comprehensive strategic partnership that continues to create opportunities for our people. Japan is our second largest trading partner, with bilateral trade reaching $22.2 billion US dollars in 2025, and our third largest source of foreign direct investments, amounting to 34.03 billion pesos. Through the Japan-Philippines Economic Partnership Agreement, our first bilateral free trade agreement, we have expanded trade, investments, and opportunities for skilled Filipino workers. Buhay na saksi po ako dito noong pang tayo ay nasa TESDA, Mr. President. These are more than numbers. Nearly 900 Japanese companies registered under PEZA have generated more than 350,000 direct jobs for Filipinos. Japan also remains the Philippines' largest provider of official development assistance, helping build infrastructure, strengthen communities, and improve the everyday lives of our people. As the chairperson of the Senate Committee on Higher and Technical Vocational Education, I also look forward to strengthening another important pillar of our partnership, education. Earlier this year, Mr. President, the Senate conducted a public hearing on the Asia-Pacific Regional Convention on the recognition of qualifications in higher education, or the Tokyo Convention. We look forward to the Philippines' accession to this landmark agreement, which would make us the very first ASEAN member state to join the convention and expand opportunities for Filipino students, graduates, researchers, and professionals across the Asia-Pacific. Indeed, Mr. President, our friendship is likewise strengthened through parliamentary diplomacy. And as mentioned a while ago by our dear colleagues, I also recall, Mr. President, that in April 2023, 11 members of the Philippine Senate, including this representation, and led by our majority leader, the former Senate President, Juan Miguel Zubiri, undertook an official visit to Tokyo, where we met then Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, the leaders of Japan's National Diet, and members of the Japan-Philippines Parliamentarians Friendship League. That visit, Mr. President, reaffirmed that enduring friendships between nations are built not only by governments but also by sustained dialogue between legislators. As we celebrate this milestone, Mr. President, we honor the people who have made this friendship flourish. From our Ambassador Milen Garcia, from workers and entrepreneurs to students, tourists, and families, Japan has also become a favorite destination for many Filipinos, reflecting the warmth and mutual respect that define our relationship. And before I close, Mr. President, and conclude, please allow this representation to recognize His Excellency, my good friend, Ambassador Endo Kazuya, who will soon conclude his tour of duty in the Philippines. We thank him for his dedicated service and for his invaluable role in further strengthening and enduring friendship and strategic partnership between our two nations. Through his leadership, Mr. President, and through his unwavering commitment, Philippines-Japan relations have reached even greater heights. To Ambassador Endo, domo arigato gozaimasu. Thank you very much for your friendship and service. We wish you continued success and blessings. Mr. President, as we look ahead, may we continue to weave an even stronger future together, one marked by deeper friendship, greater opportunities for our people, and a shared commitment to peace, prosperity, and progress. Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Senator Joel Villanueva.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Next to co-sponsor the measure, Senator Erwin Tulfo.
We recognize the gentleman from the province of Palawan, Senator Erwin Tulfo.
Mr. President, esteemed colleagues, Ambassador Endo Kazuya, Sanjini Yokoso Koshi Kadesamashita Kaka. I am deeply honored to co-sponsor this resolution to the Senate today. Since establishing formal ties on July 23, 1956, the Philippines and Japan have forged a formidable alliance that Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi has recently called as a comprehensive strategic partnership. Japan remains our #1 ODA partner, funding vital infrastructure, disaster mitigation, maritime safety, and peace efforts in our country. On March 16, 2026, His Excellency Endo Kazuya paid a courtesy visit while I was serving as chairman of the Committee on Foreign Relations. During our meeting, we discussed several matters of mutual interest, including the importance of prioritizing the completion of ongoing ODA-funded projects before undertaking new ones. Culturally, our connection is just as strong. Japan has become one of the absolute favorite tourist spots for Filipinos these days, whether we are chasing cherry blossoms, enjoying the incredible food, or embracing their vibrant culture. To honor this profound friendship and Japan's immense contribution to our nation's progress, this resolution seeks to officially recognize the enduring friendship between the Republic of the Philippines and Japan in their 70th anniversary of the normalization of diplomatic relations between the two countries. To Ambassador Endo and the Japanese people, arigato gozaimasu. Here's to a lasting partnership, endless bowls of authentic ramen, and if I may speak for every Filipino tourist, Mr. Ambassador, hopefully even faster approvals of our multiple entry visas. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Erwin Tulfo.
Next to
Who's
Mr.
our
co-sponsor,
next
Mr. President,
sponsor?
is Senator Robin Hood Padilla.
We recognize the gentleman from Nueva Ecija and Camarines Norte, Senator Robin Padilla.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo, at sa ating pinunong mayurya. Ako po ay tumitindig upang makiisa sa pagko-sponsor ng proposed Senate Resolution number 502 na inihain ng ating mahal na samurai na kasamahan Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri. Mga mahal kong kababayan, napakahalaga po ng relasyon natin sa Japan. Sapagkat ito po ay punong-puno ng pag-ibig at aksyon. Katunayan, ang atin pong national hero, Jose Rizal, ay nagkaroon po ng napakagandang pag-ibig sa Japan. Ang kanya pong girlfriend, si Seiko Usui, o ang tawag po ay Osei-san. Siya po ay anak ng isang shogun, samurai, at doon po siya nakilala ng ating national hero. Ma'am, pag-aralan mo yan. Dahil ikaw ay estudyante ni Jose Rizal. Opo. Yes, ma'am. At doon din po, noong panahon ng Katipunan, ito po ay napakahalaga sapagkat ang unang kumilala sa ating mga revolusyonaryo ay ang Japan. Nanaisin ko pong basahin sa English ito para maintindihan ni Ambassador. I cannot say this in Japan, but I will say it in English, my brother Ambassador. It was Japan who first recognized the call of our founding fathers for freedom. It was Japan who gave the utmost importance to the Katipunan. In the book of Katipunan, or the rise and fall of the Filipino commune, Francis St. Clair wrote that in May 1896, Supremo Andres Bonifacio met with Japanese Admiral Kamimura aboard the Japanese cruise Congo. The result of that meeting was the sale of firearms and ammunition to the revolutionaries. Series of deliveries were made until the Japanese authorities learned of the matter and sank the Japanese ship Nonobiki Maru. Mga mahal kong kababayan, pati po noong World War II, si General Emilio Aguinaldo, ang dati po nating Pangulo, kasama po si General Artemio Ricarte, ang father of the Philippine Army, ay tumanggi po na manumpa sa mga Amerikano at ang kanila pong mga kasama ay ang ating mga kaibigang Hapones na tumulong po sa atin noong panahon ng Revolusyon. Noon naman pong 1996, nung ako po ay nakakulong sa Bilibid, Ginoong Pangulo, ang number 1 pong tumulong sa mga bilanggo ay ang mga Hapon din. Nung nabalitaan po nila na walang halfway house, na wala pong mapuntahan ang mga bilanggo, pagkatapos po nilang lumaya, wala po silang mapuntahan. Ang iba po kasi dyan ay nakukulong na ng 30 taon, wala na silang pamilya, wala na silang mauwian. Nagtayo po ang Japan ng halfway house para sa mga bilanggo na ito. Hindi po natin yan makakalimutan dahil kasama po tayo sa ribbon cutting na ito. At mga mahal kong kababayan, sa isang mundong patuloy na nahaharap sa digmaan, hidwaan at hindi pagkakaunawaan, ang 70 taong pagkakaibigan ng Pilipinas at Japan ay nagpapaalala sa atin na may ibang landas na maaaring tahakin. Ang landas ng dialogo, pagkakaisa at kapayapaan. Masasabi po nating lagpas 100 taon o 200 taon ang ating relasyon sa Japan. Maaring maging 300 taon pa. Kaya naman po, buong puso kong sinusuportahan ang proposed Senate Resolution number 502. Hindi ko man po masabi pa sa salitang Hapon o sa Ingles, alam ko pong naiintindihan ng ating mahal na kapatid na Ambassador. Maraming salamat po.
Majority Leader, who is our next sponsor?
Distinguished colleague, Senator Padilla. Next to co-sponsor the measure is no other than our distinguished colleague from Pampanga in the Republic of the Philippines and Quezon City, Senator Kiko Pangilinan.
We recognize the gentleman from Pampanga, Senator Kiko Pangilinan.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, Majority Leader. Allow this representation to share its full support, manifest its full support by way of this co-sponsorship speech for proposed resolution number 502, expressing the sense of the Senate in recognizing the enduring friendship between the Republic of the Philippines and Japan and commemorating the 70th anniversary of the normalization of diplomatic relations between the two countries. The truth, Mr. President, and I share the earlier manifestations of Senator Raffy Tulfo as well as Senator Erwin Tulfo, that the strong relations between Japan and the Philippines dates more than 70 years. Like Senators Raffy and Senator Erwin, this representation is a fourth-generation Nikkei Jin in my mother's side. My great-grandmother was Haruhibaba Murakami from Nagasaki, who married, actually, an American soldier, Rosser Miller Dennison from Galveston, Texas, and they settled in Davao City during the American colonial rule. In the Kalinan and Matina districts of Davao City, where they had a abaca plantation called Southern Cross. And it was also during the American colonial rule that in Davao City, as I understand, up to 20% of the population of Davao City were Japanese immigrants, which explains why my great-grandmother was settled there. But more than the personal, Mr. President, is the long-standing trade, economic, political engagements between our country and Japan in the last 70 years and even before that. Japan is, at some point, was the #1 official development aid allocations for the country, Mr. President, together with, until today. Oh, that is correct. Thank you for that clarification. Today, they are the largest contributors to the ODA for the country. And in the current geopolitical tensions, Mr. President, it is always good to have allies. I remember when I was in the elementary in LaSalle Green Hills, uso na ang bullying nun. There were bullies. But because I had an older brother who was 2 years ahead of me in LaSalle Green Hills, I wasn't bullied. So in the current context of international bullying, we must have older, stronger, more robust older brothers. And Japan would be one of them. And it is critical for us to strengthen, continue to strengthen our relations with Japan and other countries, not just in the region, with the EU, with the Australia and New Zealand, Mr. President. We'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Japan for being part of the 14 nations that affirmed and recognized the arbitral ruling in its 10th anniversary. This, Mr. President, is a clear indication of their support for our sovereignty and our exclusive economic zone preservation and upholding our rights to our exclusive economic zone. That being said, Mr. President, in the area of food security, Mr. President, when we were tackling the expanded free meals program sponsored and authored by Senator Bam Aquino, the school meals program of Japan actually is a template that we should be able to follow. And I'm told that one of the biggest donors, if not the biggest donors, for the World Food Program, school meals program in BARM, is likewise the Japanese government. And the BARM experience of the World Food Program was likewise part of the deliberations in the committee hearings of the Committee on Education. And we thank Japan and the government, their government, for supporting our school meals program in the BARM. And we hope to expand that to other parts of the country. With that, Mr. President, we thank the good ambassador, Ambassador Endo, and of course the Japanese government. We wish him bon voyage, and we look forward to drinking sake with him in Tokyo after August, Mr. President. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
I hope you invite me, Senator Pangilinan, to that sake celebration. Majority Leader, who's our next sponsor?
We will definitely invite you, Mr. Senate President. You might be able to find a Japanese lady for you.
With the help of our good ambassador, maybe.
Yes, Mr. President, next to co-sponsor the measures, our distinguished colleague from Taguig and Pateros, no other than our distinguished colleague, Senator Pia Cayetano.
We recognize the gentle lady from Taguig, Senator Pia Cayetano.
Thank you, Mr. President. Much has been said about the very strong economic ties that we have with Japan, economic ties that have led into friendships. I'd like to focus on something a little bit different, but very close to my heart. My ties with Japan are very much in the area of sports. My first official visit to Japan, I was 17 years old, representing the Philippines to play volleyball in the Asian Volleyball Championship, which was hosted in Fukuoka, Japan. And then I had to wait, that was 1983, so I had to wait more than 20 years later for another official trip. And this time, the late Bayani Fernando, then head of our MMDA, had partnerships with other like bodies all over Asia. And so the Metro Tokyo, Tokyo Metro, Metro Tokyo or Tokyo Metro? Tokyo Metro, Tokyo Metro. Tokyo Metro Authority always invited their counterparts to watch the Tokyo Marathon. And Bayani Fernando said to me in Tagalog, nakailan na ako dyan, nanonood lang naman ako, ikaw na lang tumakbo ka. So I had the honor of representing the Philippines, or MMDA, as a runner. And it was my 43rd birthday. So a marathon is 42 kilometers. So my best friend and I ran an extra kilometer to commemorate my birthday. And then, but I want to add to that, very Japan style, and the Majority Floor Leader will appreciate this story because you have been a recipient of their hospitality. I traveled with my daughters, but my political officer, it's just me, my political officer, and my two daughters, also wanted to run. And there was an 11-kilometer run, so sumali din siya. So wala nang naiwan sa daughters ko. So they took care of my daughters, I think, maybe 13 and 9, something like that. They picked them up, and then they brought them to the finish line. It was raining, they were in raincoats, and they had flowers for me. All prepared by the Japanese host to welcome me there. So I will never forget that. Anyway, so that was 2009. And then, time out, another official visit, but this time wasn't really sports. I just made it a sports trip on my own and ran around the Imperial Palace. But in 2015, I was part of the delegation of the Asian Parliamentary Group. It's like a friendship group with Japan. And I had the opportunity to meet the late Prime Minister Abe. But what strikes me, and still I remember to this day, and again, the Majority Floor Leader will recall that I always talk about it, is Abenomics included in one of their pillars of economic growth women in the economy, women in leadership positions. And I talk about it all the time because this was ingrained in Japan's moving forward in one of their pillars. And of course, during that same trip, we also had many opportunities to meet with the Japanese parliament. And then in 2019, just before the Olympics, I was informed by the then ambassador that being the host, they were really trying to support the Asian countries in sports. So I had the opportunity of working with the embassy to bring the UP football team to Japan to train there as part of the sports diplomacy. And I'm coming to an end. Last year was a more personal sports diplomacy venture. The ambassador was my guest, and he learned to play paddle with his wife. And the coaches were our Filipino coaches and 2 Japanese coaches who consider the Philippines their home. These 2 Japanese players come here so much. They stay here, they play and train with our Philippine team. And so we invited the ambassador, his wife, and the embassy staff to learn about paddle with our coaches and the Japanese coaches. And we continue to play and train with these Japanese players. In fact, last week, we had an international paddle tournament, and our Philippine women's team were up against a Japanese and a Spanish, and they lost in the 3rd set to Japanese Kotomi Ozawa and Spanish Eli Nogueras. But these girls are really strong, and they really compete against each other and try to see who will come out better the next time. They really are, how do I say it, friendly competitors. And so, Mr. President, this is just my personal take on the strong friendships I and the people around me have developed with Japan. I'll end on a not so personal note, but very close to our heart. So many athletes, so many Filipino athletes train in Japan. Softball, football, hinuhuli ko nga yun, ang lakas bumulong ng mga nandito eh. Because, anyway, what did I say? Football, softball, baseball, I'm sure the martial arts also. And then I was going to say basketball. Of course, our Olympian Carlos Yulo had a lot of his training in Japan. And now also his brother, Eldrew, also trains in Japan. So on that note, I only have one last manifestation. The Majority Floor Leader did not invite me to his last trip, kaya mukha silang kawawa ni Senator JV. Dalawa lang sila dun sa lahat ng pictures. Kulang ng gender representation, but I'm sure you still did a great job. Thank you, and to many, many more years of friendship with Japan. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Pia, for that
Thank you, my dear. Mr. President, to be
sponsorship
honest,
speech.
the best walking trips I've had with Senator Pia was our trip to Japan.
Yes, I was there, Majority
Yes,
Leader.
we were doing 10,000 steps together, walking around the areas where we were billeted at. And I promise and I commit to everyone that we will invite them again as your chairman of the Philippine-Japan Friendship Association. We're trying to set up a meeting, Mr. President, with the current Japanese Prime Minister.
Right.
That one, we'd like to invite everyone.
And you now being
both sides.
honored with the Cordon of the Rising Sun.
Yes, I was.
So I'm sure you
last
will
November,
be,
sir, Mr.
correct.
President, I was given that distinction, being given an award, the Grand Cordon Order of the Rising Sun, Mr. President.
So
Thank
I'm
you.
sure that you will be given special attention in arranging a potential meeting with high-level government officials.
As long as you're there, Mr. Senate President,
Definitely.
I'm sure we can meet the Prime Minister. Kung ako lang, baka Kishida lang po. Mr. Kishida is a dear friend of ours, by the way. Mr. President, we still have 4 members who would like to deliver co-sponsorship speeches. As I said earlier, this is a very popular resolution because Japan really is very close to our heart. I think each and every one of us can say that Japan truly is the best friend of the Philippines in this region. Mr. President, next to deliver his co-sponsorship speech is no other than our distinguished colleague from Davao and Batangas, Senator Christopher Bongo.
We recognize the gentleman from Davao City, Senator Bongo.
Mr. President, I rise to express my support for the proposed Senate Resolution number 502, recognizing the enduring friendship between the Republic of the Philippines and Japan and commemorating the 70th anniversary of normalization of diplomatic relations between our two nations. We also acknowledge and thank the presence of Japanese Ambassador Endo Kasuya, sir. We also thank our majority floor leader, the Soki of Japan, Senator Mig Subiri, who is an advocate of Philippine-Japan relations. On 23 July 1956, the Philippines and Japan signed the reparations agreement, making the Philippines the first Southeast Asian country to conclude a post-war reparations agreement with Japan. More importantly, this historic agreement paved the way for the normalization of diplomatic relations and became a model for Japan's post-war reconciliation with other countries in Asia. Mr. President, ties between our two nations extend far beyond 7 decades of formal diplomacy. Long before the establishment of official diplomatic relations, Filipinos and Japanese were already connected through trade, migration, and cultural exchange. As early as 1903, Japanese migrants began settling in Davao to work in the thriving abaca industry. By the 1930s, Davao had become became the home to an estimated 20,000 Japanese migrants, making it one of the largest Japanese communities in Southeast Asia before the Second World War. Ang dami pong mga Filipino-Japanese ngayon at meron pong eskwelahan doon. Ito po yung Nikkei Jinkai na marami pong nag-aaral ng mga Filipino-Japanese. In fact, then Davao City Mayor Rodrigo Duterte initiated to build a monument in Mintal to pay his sincere respect for the Japanese migrants who have migrated in Davao. In fact, former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, the late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, visited Davao City in 2017, highlighting Japan's commitment to deepening its partnership with the Philippines. Yan po mismo yung pinuntahan niya, yung mismong bahay, yan yung nilalagyan ng kulambo. Pumasok po mismo si former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe dyan sa kwartong yan. Sumilip pa sila. From a history marked by conflict, the Philippines and Japan have built a partnership founded on reconciliation, mutual respect, and shared prosperity. Today, Japan remains one of the Philippines' most trusted development partners and among our largest providers of official development assistance. Napakalaki po ng tulong ng Japan sa Davao, sa Mindanao, through JICA. Through the decades of cooperation, Japan has supported transformative investments in infrastructure, transportation, healthcare. Laking tulong po nila sa hospital doon sa Davao. Education, disaster resilience, una po silang tumutugon rin po kagad at tumutulong. And economic development. Projects that continue to improve the lives of millions of Filipinos. One tangible example of this partnership is the EDSA Ayala Underpass, inaugurated in 2005, which continues to ease traffic and enhance mobility for thousands of commuters each day. More than a piece of infrastructure, it stands as a lasting symbol of the friendship and cooperation between our two countries. Our partnership continues to shape the future through landmark projects such as the Metro Manila Subway, the country's first underground railway system, which will provide Filipinos with a faster, safer, and more efficient mode of transportation. Likewise, the North-South Commuter Railway will connect Central Luzon, Metro Manila, Calabarzon, significantly reducing travel time between Clark, Pampanga, Calamba, Laguna, while strengthening regional connectivity and economic growth. Together, these transformative projects will form the backbone of a modern, integrated mass transit network that will benefit generations of Filipinos. Much of this enduring partnership has been made possible through the steadfast support of the Japan International Cooperation Agency or JICA. Malaking tulong po itong JICA. Tagal na po, siguro 20 years ago, narinig ko na po ito at parati rin po silang tumutulong not only in Davao but sa buong Mindanao, whose contributions have helped advance Philippines' infrastructure and development goals. Mr. President, as we commemorate this milestone, we celebrate not only 70 years of diplomatic relations, but also a remarkable journey from reconciliation after the Second World War to one of the strongest and most enduring strategic partnerships in the Indo-Pacific. It is a relationship built on trust, strengthened by shared values, and sustained by our common aspiration for peace, stability, and inclusive development. For these reasons, Mr. President, I respectfully express my wholehearted support for the adoption of proposed Senate Resolution number 502. At Your Excellency, maraming salamat po. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Senator Bongo.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Next to co-sponsor the measure is our resident diplomat herself, no other than Senator Lauren Legarda.
We recognize the gentlelady from Malabon and Panay Island.
Thank you
Senator
very much,
Lauren Legarda.
Mr. President. Dear colleagues, I rise to co-sponsor the resolution recognizing and commemorating 70 years of friendship between the Philippines and Japan. The measure before us records the milestones of that partnership. I wish to speak to what those milestones mean in the lives of our people and to a friendship I have been privileged to witness up close. Consider the human ledger of this friendship. It is written in the lives of the hundreds of thousands of Filipinos who have found opportunities in Japan, and in the Japanese families who continue to choose the Philippines as a place to visit, invest, and build partnerships. It is seen in the harvest of our banana growers in Mindanao, for whom Japan remains a trusted market, sustaining livelihoods and entire communities. This friendship also helped build the Philippines itself. As our largest development partner, Japan has stood with us in constructing transformative infrastructure, from the Metro Manila subway to the rehabilitation of our railways, while strengthening our capacity to prepare for disasters and safeguard our maritime domain. Every railway completed, every community made safer, every opportunity created is a reminder that this partnership improves the everyday lives of our people. Over the years, I've had the privilege of witnessing this friendship through parliamentary exchanges and international cooperation. I was honored to sponsor the Senate's concurrence in the Philippines-Japan Agreement on Technical Cooperation way back in 2011, when I was chair of the Committee on Foreign Relations, and to work alongside our counterparts through the Japan-Philippines Parliamentary Friendship League in strengthening dialogue between our legislatures. Allow me to recognize His Excellency Endo Kazuya, Ambassador of Japan to the Philippines, whose tireless work has helped deepen the strategic partnership and friendship between our countries. I also had the opportunity to represent the Philippines at the 2015 United Nations World Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction in Sendai, Japan, where I co-chaired the dialogue with then Minister Sanae Takaichi. It is heartening to see Minister Takaichi now serving as Prime Minister of Japan. I was just looking at my photos with a young senator, with then younger minister, and she's now the Prime Minister. I'll post it on Facebook. I just don't. I wish they could post it here.
Sure, so we can all see it?
Yes, we were both co-anchoring or a dialogue on disaster risk reduction and climate change. There we are. Yes, there we are. In 2015. Yes. A much younger senator and a younger prime minister who was then minister. And I'm confident that under her leadership, the enduring friendship between our two nations will continue to flourish. I think we have more pictures. Yes. And one of the memorable experiences in my engagement with Japan as well was representing the Philippines. I hope you had photos, but you're not ready to flash it. At the World Assembly for Women in Tokyo, where I joined women leaders from across the globe in advancing inclusive development. And this was upon the invitation of then Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. And he actually sat in a conference and it gave very hearty exchanges. He and his wife joined the conference and was not just staying on stage. And when they came to the Philippines in November 2015, I remember Akie Abe, his wife, calling and asking to see me because she had a pasalubong. I still remember receiving a gift of organic rice from Akie Abe when she came to the Philippines with then Prime Minister Shinzo Abe during APEC. And I discovered that organic rice came from her own small farm because she realized I was also a weekend farmer, and she served it in her own Tokyo restaurant named Uzu, if I'm not mistaken. So just a small anecdote. And also in the World Assembly of Women, they had a buffet of the different kinds of rice in the different regions of Japan. Perhaps the Senate can do that in one of our events. Mr. President, a friendship of 7 decades rests on more than ceremony. It rests on trust, on trade, on citizens who build lives across the sea. Allow me to close by thanking our colleague, Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri, whose long devotion to Philippine-Japan relations gave rise to this resolution. I am honored to stand with him in its authorship, and I urge its swift adoption. As we mark 70 years of diplomatic relations, may we renew our commitment to a partnership that delivers lasting peace, shared prosperity, and greater opportunities for the Filipino and Japanese people. May I also add, it's not part of my message, that we also concurred in the ratification of GPEPA. It's correct, right? That was way before you became senator, and I co-sponsored here more than 10, perhaps 15 years ago. And also, before I became a senator, I'm going off script, I was a very young journalist when I visited Kitakyushu City. And the women of Kitakyushu told us a story of how they cleaned the river, which was considered dead. That young Lauren, who was 30 years old, was inspired to write the ecological solid waste management, and using the notes from that visit to Kitakyushu City on how that industrial town transformed a dirty river into a river that was clean and alive. And 8 years later, the first bill I filed was RA 9003, having the city in Kitakyushu in Japan as my inspiration when I was a young journalist. Ano pa ibang notes ko na hindi ko nasabi? Oh, and also, then Senate President Ople, sitting there before, a young reporter of my Lolo Pepe in Manila Times, told me that he was a guest of the Japanese government in a program called like an eminent persons program. Fast forward when I was a young senator, at 39 or 40 years old, I was also a guest of the Japanese government, just like the Senate President then. So I went off script because I wanted to tell you stories of a younger senator of more than 25 years ago, and that's how it's not just many years, but decades, how close our relations have been with this great nation, our neighbor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Lauren,
Thank
for
you
the
very much, Mr.
sponsorship
President.
speech.
Mr. President, we have 4 more members who would like to deliver co-sponsorship speeches. We'd like to recognize our distinguished colleague from Las Piñas and Metro Manila, no other than Senator Camille Villar.
We recognize the gentlelady from Las Piñas City, Senator Camille Villar.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is an honor and privilege for me to rise to co-sponsor this resolution, expressing the sense of the Senate in recognizing the enduring friendship between the Republic of the Philippines and Japan and commemorating the 70th anniversary of the normalization of diplomatic relations between our two countries. 70 years ago, the Philippines and Japan formally normalized their diplomatic relations. With political courage, mutual humility, and a shared conviction that two nations would choose to become partners in peace. It was not easy, but today it has resulted in something truly remarkable. Mr. President, what began as an act of reconciliation has grown into one of the most substantive and multi-dimensional relationships the Philippines maintains with any nation. Japan has for decades been among the Philippines' largest sources of official development assistance, supporting our infrastructure, our agriculture, our disaster resilience, and countless communities across the archipelago. Filipino and Japanese businesses, workers, students, and families have built bridges of commerce and culture that now touch nearly every province in the country. This relationship has genuinely served the Filipino people. Through decades of development assistance that built roads and bridges in our provinces, through education and cultural exchange that have brought Japanese language, arts, and values closer to Filipino homes, through the hundreds of thousands of Filipinos who have found livelihood and opportunity in Japan, and through a security partnership that today helps safeguard our sovereignty and seas. For our family, on November 25, 2022, my father, Manny Villar, former Senate President and House Speaker, received the Grand Cordon of the Order of the Rising Sun from the government of Japan, conferred on behalf of Emperor Naruhito by the Japanese Ambassador Kazuhiko Koshikawa. We are told that the Order of the Rising Sun, established in 1875, is Japan's oldest national decoration and a principal honor for foreign nationals. And I believe our former Senate President and current Majority Floor Leader, Juan Miguel Zubiri, also received the same. So my father received this award in recognition of his contributions to strengthening economic and bilateral relations between Japan and the Philippines, particularly his role as Senate President during the time that he was Senate President in the ratification of the Japan-Philippine Economic Partnership Agreement, or JAPEPA, the Japan-Philippines Tax Treaty Amendment Protocol in 2008, and the Japan-Philippines Technical Cooperation Agreement in 2011. So this was a profound honor, not just for my father, but for our family. And this honor and this friendship and relationship with Japan is something that we hold very dear. And on a personal note, when I first won as senator in 2025, the first meeting I had, and the first invitation I had for a meeting was from Ambassador Endo Kazuya. And I will never forget that. And I would like to express my sincere gratitude to him. I would like to thank you for your friendship, for your guidance, and your unwavering support in strengthening the ties between our two countries. Mr. Ambassador, this friendship between the Filipino and Japanese peoples, I know, will continue to go stronger with every generation. Mr. Ambassador, your service here has left a lasting impact, and always remember that wherever you may go, you will always have a home here in the Philippines. Maraming salamat po. Arigato. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Senator Camille Villar, for the heartwarming sponsorship speech.
Bibigyan daw ni Camille ng bahay si
Tama, oo.
Ambassador
Pwede
Endo
siyang
sa
pumili.
Camela Homes. Yes, sir.
Marami siyang pagpipilian,
Yes, yes.
Majority Leader.
For sure. Mr. President, next to co-sponsor the measure is our distinguished colleague, Senator Risa Ontiveros.
We recognize the gentle lady from Panay, Senator Risa Hontiveros.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise in support of this resolution, marking 70 years since the normalization of relations between the Republic of the Philippines and Japan. And also remembering in my heart my first travel abroad as a scholar of the Japan Airlines Summer Scholarship Program more than 4 decades ago at the Ichigaya campus of Sophia University, just before the People Power Revolution. From the hard work of post-war reconciliation, our peoples have built one of the region's most durable partnerships, standing with us as a strategic partner committed to a free and open Indo-Pacific and the primacy of international law in our maritime domain. Nowhere is that partnership more concrete than in the agreement concluded this July for the transfer of 5 Abukuma-class destroyer escorts from the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force. The first time Tokyo will hand over retired surface combatants to any foreign navy, and a decision that will give the Philippine Navy 5 additional hulls purpose-built for anti-submarine and littoral operations, complementing our Jose Rizal and Miguel Malvar class frigates, and materially strengthening our presence in the West Philippine Sea. The next 70 years must be built on this new ground as much as the old. Recognition and justice for the Filipino comfort women, deeper maritime and defense cooperation, joint investment in digital and energy infrastructure, semiconductors, and artificial intelligence, where Japanese technology and Filipino talent are natural complements. Closer collaboration on disaster resilience and climate adaptation, which both our archipelagos know too well, and continued care for the Filipino community in Japan, whose work and families remain the truest expression of the friendship that this resolution honors. Marami pong salamat, Mr. President, and to Ambassador San, domo arigato gozaimashita.
Thank you very much, Senator Risa Ontiveros.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next to co-sponsor the measures, our distinguished colleague from the city of Las Piñas, Senator Mark Villar.
We recognize the gentleman from Las Piñas City, Senator Mark Villar.
Mr. President, I rise in support of proposed Senate Resolution number 502, expressing the sense of the Senate in recognizing the enduring friendship between the Republic of the Philippines and Japan and commemorating the 70th anniversary of the normalization of diplomatic relations between the two countries. Mr. President, I join our colleagues in welcoming Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Japan to the Philippines, Endo Kazuya, to this august chamber as we celebrate the long-standing bilateral relations between our two countries. Welcome to the Philippine Senate, Ambassador. Many times you've hosted me in your house, and now it's our turn to host you in the Senate. So it's an honor. Diplomatic relations between Japan and the Philippines were normalized after the enactment of the San Francisco Peace Treaty and the Reparations Agreement on July 23, 1956. That year, it was declared to be the Japan-Philippines Friendship Year as we commemorate the 70th anniversary of the bilateral relations between the two nations. And Mr. President, we have an exciting year ahead as we would bear witness to a celebration of how far we have come together working on significant economic, security, people-to-people exchanges, and cultural development. It is also equally inspiring to look back on the vital partnerships we had with Japan, particularly on various big-ticket projects that we now enjoy today. Through our active partnership with the Japan International Cooperation Agency, Japan has been a significant contributor to the strengthening of our national development plans and continues to be an important partner for us till this day. And I remember when I was serving in government as the Secretary of Public Works, every month we would have regular meetings with the Japanese government regarding our projects, and regularly we'd always meet with the JICA. So it was a big part, and I can say from personal experience that the Japanese government has been generously giving their support to our infrastructure programs, and this has been going on for a very long time, and for that we should all be very thankful for their support to our nation building. Through our partnership with JICA, we will soon enjoy improved public transportation through the Metro Manila Subway and the North-South Commuter Railway and other various infrastructure and development projects all throughout the country. Mr. President, beyond infrastructure and economic development projects, security cooperation has also reached unprecedented milestones for Japan and the Philippines. We became the first country in Asia to sign and ratify a reciprocal access agreement with Japan, which enhanced the efficiency of cooperation between the armed forces of the Philippines and the self-defense forces of Japan. The Philippines has also become the sole partner nation to have received Japan's official security assistance for 3 consecutive years. I would also like to highlight that our ties to Japan have been elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership, which placed our friendship at a much higher tier than before, allowing us to pursue heightened levels of cooperation and strategic alignment across various sectors. On a different note, the significant uptick of Filipino tourists in Japan, hitting an all-time high of 900,000 visitors in 2025, signifies that our bilateral ties with Japan is also deepened through cultural and people-to-people exchanges. Through our continuous diplomatic relationship with Japan, more Filipinos will get to enjoy Japan at a personal and cultural level, and vice versa. So, Mr. President, as we move towards our 70th year of diplomatic ties with Japan, I am confident that our relationship will further blossom into a holistic and fruitful cooperation for both our countries' development, as manifested by the success of the past 7 decades of our partnership. Again, welcome Ambassador Endo Kazuya to the Senate. Thank you for gracing this chamber with your presence. And of course, I'd like to also thank you on a personal note, Ambassador, for always being so gracious. And on behalf of my family, the whole Senate, we wish you the best always. And you please always remember you have a friend in the Philippines who you can always come back and visit. So thank you very much, Ambassador.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Leader.
President.
Thank you very much, Senator Mark Villar.
Last but not the least, our distinguished Minority Floor Leader would like to be recognized.
We recognize our distinguished Minority Leader, Senator Alan Cayetano.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President, His Excellency, Ambassador Endo Kazuya, dear colleagues. Proverbs 11:14 tells us, "For lack of guidance, a nation falls, but victory is won through many advisors." It is phenomenal how Japan rose from the ashes and the destruction of World War II. But it's equally phenomenal how Japan built its relations with its neighbors and its status or reputation in the world in such a short period of time. And while being a little bit sensitive, but being bold, Japan still has issues now and then with Korea and China when it comes to World War II. So it is also phenomenal how in such a short period of time, Filipinos and Japanese, or the Philippines and Japan, went from bitter enemies to people doing business together through two preferred partners and now enjoying a true brotherhood or sisterhood. So I remember, Your Excellency, that during the time of President Duterte, there are a couple of times that we were in Japan, and whether it was with the media or with businessmen, I would tell them very frankly that people my age and a little bit older, our grandparents, if you mention Japanese, they will really get mad because the horrors of World War II was still there, no? The cruelty suffered, the animosity, etc. No? Then when my dad was a, not young lawyer, but gitna na nung career niya, siguro 80s, di ba? 80s, mid-80s going to the 90s. You know, whether it's law firms, whether it's hotels, whether sa mining, transportation, preferred partners were the Japanese. Even in tourism, di ba? Whether you talk about Cebu, you talk about areas in Mindanao, Baguio, whether we had an official campaign or not, we really wanted to attract Japanese tourists. And during this time, slowly but surely, our development assistants and working with JBIC, JICA, their consultants, the studies that they graciously provided, was it the LRT or basta yung mga nauna natin mga trains, di ba, and everything sa airport. So we woke up one day where you have this intimate relationship. Then you wake up also with real life disputes in the West Philippine Sea, and of course, Japan and China also have a dispute. And then you wake up 2022, where no one said that there will really be a conflict or of that magnitude between Ukraine and Russia. Then it's happening. And then everyone says the Middle East is volatile, but suddenly Iran, Israel, US, and then the rest of the world is suffering, no? So my point, Mr. President, is the phenomenal rise of Japan and its people also presents so much opportunities. That's why I like that verse, because nations need guides. And sometimes you need an outside guide. And the Japanese and the Japanese people, the Japanese businessmen, you know, can be not only a partner, but a wise counselor and guide to the Philippines. And also us in certain issues. For example, migration is now and then an issue in Japan. And of course, we have more than 10 million Filipinos abroad, and Japan has hosted many Filipinos. Sensitively, we were saying, because one of the problems, of course, of Japan is the birth rate. That's why we, di ba, yung population of Japan, and we were saying, you know, because usually Japanese couples only want one child. But when a Japanese and a Filipino gets together, whether the man is Filipino or the woman is Filipino, they don't only want to have one child. They want to have at least 2 or 3. So we were saying that even in that aspect, we can share some expertise in a bigger family. Unfortunately, this year, very steep din ang pagbaksak, di ba, ng atin birth rate, no? Having said that, Mr. President, we're here to honor the ambassador because in such a short period of time, he has done so much. So I think we're unanimous, Your Excellency, in saying thank you. I know it's for your country to say that you did a great job, but at least for Filipinos, we know that you did a great job. But we're also here to say that culture matters. When you go to Japan, and unfortunately you leave your bag or your wallet somewhere, go back, it's there, and it's there. I mean, you don't even have to go to the lost and found. No one will get it, di ba? Everyone, you go to a shop that you're not going to buy anything, and you say, where's the restroom? And there's no restroom there. They'll excuse themselves, go out the door, and walk with you for a while and point you where it is. No? So there's a lot of things to learn in terms of culture. So I hope that the last few months of our ambassador here, of course, we all hope you're extended, but if not, the last few months, we can continue to work on more exchanges, more exchange students, more trips between the Japanese to the Philippines, the Filipinos to Japanese. Not just projects. We will not cement a relationship literally by just infrastructure projects using cement, but we will cement the relationship by people-to-people exchanges. And of course, we have a very good ambassador also in Japan. Not sure about the husband, but the ambassador is a very good ambassador. And lastly, we honor the leaders of Japan that regardless of our foreign policy, regardless who our president is, they're there to help, they're there to build bridges. Medyo nainggit din ako sa ibang mga colleagues natin, especially kilala nila yung mga prime minister, defense minister, yung iba may kilala sila mga artista ng Japan. Ako kasi ang kilala ko si Pikachu, si Monkey D. Luffy, si Nami, Blastoise, si Psyduck, no? But I mentioned that just because, even in the cultural, artistic creations of Japan, may it be from Sanrio, Hello Kitty to the present, no? So for example, when it comes to Pokemon and One Piece, young people are learning accounting, are learning trading, are learning, sabi ng Pangulo sa SONA, mag-impok ang mga bata. But actually, the trend is not in saving, but investing. So, people learn by experience rather than being taught. So you want better peace and order, go to Japan. Their tourist police or even their policies. In Japan, if you bump into a woman and you accidentally touch the sensitive parts, whatever, sa presinto ka na magpapaliwanag. You have to go. There's no excuses. That's why people are so careful. You see, it's so clean, but no one's going there telling you, pick that up and etc. So I just wanted to emphasize that more exposure, more trips, more people-to-people would really benefit, I think, both countries. So thank you, Majority Leader, for sponsoring this. 70 years, we should have a countdown to 75 is diamond, right? 75. Gold ang 50. I think diamond ang 75. We should not wait till the 74th year to have a countdown to the diamond. We should have a 5-year plan of how the Philippines and Japan and maybe an interparliamentary 5-year countdown to the diamond year of our relationship with Japan. Thank you, Senate President, and magandang hapon.
Thank you, distinguished Minority Leader. And just to say a few words, Majority Leader, 70 years of friendship is indeed a milestone. And Japan has been a very important development partner of the Philippines. Almost half of our ODAs come from JICA, from Japan. And to date, close to about $14 billion have been invested here in the Philippines. Our first subway will be built by Japan. Our first commuter rail, north to south, will be built by Japan. And that will bring immense development to our countryside. So once again, Ambassador Endo, we bid you farewell. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much for your service. And please continue to, like what our Minority Leader said, forge and cement ties between two nations. Maraming salamat.
Mr. President, just in line with what our Minority Floor Leader had said, and I'd just like to share this with everyone. This Monday, people to people, this Monday, August 3, 4 members of the Parliament from Japan Innovation Party are having a parliamentary visit and will make a courtesy call with us in the Senate, Your Honor, and the Senate President. So that is on Monday. And on September 14 to 18, another group of 7 members of Parliament will also be doing a parliamentary visit with us. This is what the good Minority Floor Leader is saying, people-to-people participation. And as I mentioned earlier during my speech earlier, they're the same people who visit us, are the same people who fight for us when we need assistance, help in terms of defense cooperation, economic participation, and trade with Japan. And I'm so happy that we are having more members of Parliament of Japan visiting us in the Philippines, and we should reciprocate. As a matter of fact, we're planning, Mr. President, your chairman of the Philippine-Japan Friendship Association, yours truly, is planning a November trip, first week of November trip before the scheduled sessions on November 9 to be able to also visit once again Japan. And I'm inviting all our colleagues here who would like to join us both from the minority and majority.
Sure.
And we'll have hopefully a high-level delegation meeting in Japan, Your Honor, Mr.
So
President.
you, Majority Leader, you being the President of the Philippine-Japan Parliamentary Friendship Group, you're tasked to entertain our guests
Yes,
who
sir.
are coming here.
I will do that as your orders. We will host them and take care of them. Mr. President, I just want to put on record, a total of 14 senators had sponsored and co-sponsored this resolution. I think one of the most for a resolution honoring a nation partner and friend to us. I just want to let the ambassador know that. Usually when we have we're celebrating an anniversary for a friendship of another country, marami na po yung 5 na magtatayo, no? 5 would be a lot to stand up and sponsor the measure. We have today a total of 14 senators, and I know a lot more want to co-sponsor this to show our gratitude to Japan. As mentioned by Senator Alan Cayetano, yung alam niya is Pikachu and the others. Nung
Sanrio.
bata po kami ni Senator Alan, Voltage 5, si Steve, Little John, Koji Kabuto, of Mazinger Z. Akala ko po nung bata po ako lahat ng Hapon ay ganun ng itsura. Itsura ni Koji Kabuto. And so, with that, Mr. President, before we adopt the resolution, I'd just like to make one insertion, amendment to the resolution, if possible, with the permission of the body. On page 2, after line 7, we'd like to insert a new paragraph that reads as follows. Whereas the long-standing partnership, mutual trust, and strategic alignment between the Philippines and Japan is further exemplified by high-level engagements, including the historic address of Prime Minister Kishida Fumio before a joint session of the Philippine Congress in November 2023, the first of its kind by a Japanese Prime Minister, and the address of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. before a joint session of the National Diet of Japan in May 2026, a rare distinction and regarded as a high diplomatic honor. I move to insert
Is
that.
there any objection? Hearing none, the amendment of our Majority Leader is hereby carried.
And Mr. President, with the permission of the body to make all members, all 24 members of this institution, as co-authors and co-sponsors. I so move, Mr. President.
All senators are deemed co-authors and co-sponsors of the said measure.
With that, Mr. President, I move to adopt proposed Senate Resolution number 502.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, Resolution 502 is hereby adopted.
May I ask for a minute
Congratulations.
suspension? Thank you, Mr. President. May I ask a minute suspension of our session to give the parchment, the resolution, to our distinguished, honorable Ambassador Endo Kazuya.
Session suspended. Session resumed.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of Senate Bill number 2272, under Committee Report Number 71.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
This is the strengthening our nutrition program. To sponsor the measure, may recognize Senator Bamakino, and to interpolate, I believe, Senator Erwin Tulfo.
We recognize the sponsor of the measure, Senator Bamakino, and to interpolate, Senator Erwin Tulfo.
Mr. President, I stand corrected.
Okay.
Apparently, when Senator Bamakino approached me that he and Senator Erwin would speak, I thought it was for his bill. Apparently, it's for privileged speeches.
Yes,
so,
they are both scheduled to give privileged speeches.
So with that, I withdraw my motion, Mr. President, for consideration of this measure.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion of the majority leader is hereby approved.
May we recognize our minority floor leader, Mr. President, to elect the members of his minority bloc for chairmanships.
Yes,
of his
we
committees.
recognize our distinguished minority leader, Senator Alan
Thank you,
Cayetano.
Mr. President. And to accommodate our majority leader said we want to get to work despite our schedule. So may I also, I will read first those that are pending, then may I also manifest those have been read, but there might be some changes. So for the Committee on Public Works, Senator Mark Villar. For the Committee on Public Works. For the Committee on Cooperatives, Senator Marcos. For the Committee on Culture and Arts, Senator Legarda. For the Committee on Public Information, Senator Padilla. For the Committee on Sustainable Development Goals, Innovation and Futures Thinking, Senator Pia Cayetano. For the Committee on Tourism, Senator Marcoleta, who is celebrating his birthday today. For the Committee on Civil Service, Government Reorganization and Professional Regulation, Senator Legarda. For the Committee on Cultural Communities and Muslim Affairs, Senator Padilla. Senator Mark Villar will give way to Senator Estrada for the Committee on Financial Institution and Currency, Banks, Financial Institutions and Currencies. But Senator Mark Villar will be the Senior Vice Chairperson, as I manifest now, and will be the acting chair. Then the Committee on Government, Corporation, and Public Enterprise, Senator Camille Villar. Committee on Sports, Senator Go. Committee on Youth, Senator Go. Unless the majority leader has any comment, I'll ask for which one? Can I ask for a minute suspension?
Session
Which one?
suspended.
Sige, I'll make the correction. Yeah. Can I make the correction? I think there's been a confusion with the Committee on Public.
Session resumed.
Sir President, to make the correction, so Senator Mark Villar will continue to be chairman of the Committee on Banks, Financial Institution, and Currency. Then I withdraw the nomination of Senator Jinggoy for the Committee on Public Works. But we're asking the majority leader for possible committees for Senator Estrada. And maybe we can discuss it on Monday. Yes.
Yes.
If there's no objections, maybe it can be an omnibus motion
Yes.
to elect the following to the
All right.
said
Is there any
chairmanship.
objection? Hearing none, the motion of the the minority leader is hereby approved, subject to the changes he mentioned.
And for the deputy minority leader, Senator Amy Marcos.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, Senator Amy Marcos
So for
is...
the record, we are not anti-Marcos because we're electing Amy as the deputy minority leader.
Senator Amy Marcos is elected as the deputy minority leader.
Thank you. And we'd like to also reflect that as Deputy Minority Floor Leader, she'll be member of all committees as ex-official member.
As
A regular member.
so recorded. So noted.
Thank you. Mr. President, to avail of the privilege hour, may we recognize our distinguished colleague from Palawan and the Republic of the Philippines, Senator Erwin Tulfo.
We recognize our distinguished colleague from Palawan, Senator Erwin Tulfo.
Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo. Maraming salamat, Majority Floor Leader. Mahal na Pangulo, mga kasamahan. ang kuryente o elektrisidad ang pangunahing nagpapatakbo sa ating mga tahanan, paaralan, ospital, mga negosyo at maging sa ating pamahalaan. Sa madaling sabi, kung walang maasahan at abot kayang kuryente, mahihirapang umunlad ang ating bayan. Ngunit kamakailan lamang nag-number 1 po ang Pilipinas sa Southeast Asia. Hindi po sa larangan ng sports, hindi po sa larangan ng edukasyon o ekonomiya, kundi last June, we recorded the highest electricity rates in Southeast Asia at 13 pesos to 14 pesos per kilowatt hour. Sa bawat pagtaas po ng singil sa kuryente, nababawasan po ang budget ng pamilyang Pilipino para sa pagkain, pambili ng gamot at pagpapaaral ng mga anak. Every peso added to the electricity bill is a peso taken away from a Filipino family's take-home pay. Mr. President, batid ko na hindi sapat na magreklamo lamang tayo sa mataas na singil sa kuryente. Bilang mga mambabatas, tungkulin nating kumilos para maibsan ang paghihirap ng ating mga kababayan. Accordingly, this representation has filed 3 complementary measures aimed at providing immediate and meaningful relief to Filipino consumers. Una, ang proposed Senate Resolution number 537 na naglalayong imbestigahan ang kasalukuyang polisiya ng paniningil ng systems loss charge. Ang systems loss ay binubuo ng technical losses na natural na nangyayari sa transmission at distribution ng kuryente. At ang non-technical losses dulot ng illegal connections, jumper, meter tampering at pagnanakaw ng kuryente. Maaring may legal at technical na batayan ng systems loss charge. Ngunit isang bagay ang malinaw, Ginoong Pangulo. Hindi naman po kasalanan ng ordinaryong mamayan ang pagkawala ng kuryente sa linya. Bakit po siya ang magbabayad nito? Ikalawa, ang Senate Bill number 2340 na nag-exempt sa systems loss charge mula sa 12% value-added tax o VAT para sa residential consumer. Sa ating kasalukuyang sistema, may systems loss na, may VAT pa na binabayaran tayo. Binubuwisan po at kailangan daw nating bayaran ang nawalang kuryente na hindi naman po natin nagamit, Ginoong Pangulo. Dobleng pasanin sa ating mga kababayan. Hanggang saan ba dapat ipasa sa consumers ang gastusing ito? Ikatlo, inihain din natin ang Senate Bill number 2339 na naglalayong tuluyang ipawalang bisa na ang energy tax sa ilalim ng Batas Pambansa bilang 36. When this law was passed in 1979, it sought to encourage energy conservation through an additional tax on high residential electricity consumption. Kaso mo, Ginoong Pangulo, iba na po ang panahon ngayon. Hindi na po luho ang kuryente, kundi pangunahing pangangailangan para sa pag-aaral, paghahanap buhay, komunikasyon, pangangalagang pangkalusugan at sa simpleng pamumuhay na may dangal at dignidad ng bawat pamilyang Pilipino. Ang bawat pisong matitipid sa electric bill ay maaaring maging dagdag sa pagkain, gamot, matrikula at emergency fund ng isang pamilya. Ayon mismo sa mga distribution utilities, ang systems loss ay isang regulated pass-through charge kung saan humigit kumulang 5% na karaniwang residential bill ay napupunta rito, habang mahigit 10% naman ay napupunta sa iba't ibang buwis at government charge. Kung may kapangyarihan po ang pamahalaan na suriin ang mga lumang pulisiya at alisin ang mga hindi na makatarungang pasanin, mayroon din po tayong tungkulin para ibasura ito. If we are serious about easing the burden on our people, then we must have the courage to revisit policies that have long been accepted but may no longer be fair, Mr. President. As I conclude, allow me also to acknowledge my fellow senators who have filed similar or related measures. Senator J.B. Ejercito, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Lito Lapid, Senator Chis Escudero, Senator Bam Aquino, and Senator Amy Marcos, Senator Rodante Marcoleta, and Senate President Gatchalian. I therefore call on this chamber, both the majority and the minority, to join me, Mr. President, in supporting these measures and in working together toward an energy sector that is efficient, transparent, competitive, and above all, fair to the Filipino people. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo.
Maraming salamat, Senator Erwin. And it's really about time to revisit the IPIRA bill after many, many years. At tama ho kayo na kailangan ho natin pag-aralan ulit itong mga ipinapasang charges sa ating mga consumers. Lalo na ngayon na napakataas po ang binibayad po ng ating mga consumers. The highest in ASEAN. So maraming salamat. The sooner we can get this hearing going, the better for our consumers. Senator Bam Aquino, I think you'll also deliver a privilege speech. We recognize the gentleman from Tarlac, Senator Bam Aquino.
Maraming salamat. Mga kaibigan, mga kababayan, Mr. President, karangalan ko po ngayon na pag-usapan ang isang bagay na talagang nakakabahala. Ang estado ng ating maliliit na negosyo or MSMEs. Bago pa man po tayo pumasok sa Senado, malapit na po ang maliliit na negosyo sa ating puso. At noong ating unang termino, ang unang batas na napasa po natin ay ang Go Negosyo Act of 2014 na nagbigay ng mas malaking access sa mga maliliit na negosyo sa tinatawag na 3Ms or money, market, and mentorship. Ang Go Negosyo Act po ang nagtatag ng mga negosyo center sa lahat ng syudad at munisipalidad upang mailapit ang mentoring, training, financing at business advisory service sa ating mga maliliit na negosyo. Sinulong din po natin noong unang termino ang Philippine Competition Act na nagbigay ng patas na laban sa mga negosyo at mas matibay na proteksyon sa mga namimili. Kaya napakalaking karangalan po na bumabalik tayo bilang chairperson ng Committee on Trade, Commerce and Entrepreneurship. At noong Lunes na binuksan ang second session of the 20th Congress, natuwa po kami na isa sa mga pinangalangang priority ni Senate President Win Gatchalian ang pagpapalakas ng ating ekonomiya at pagpapagaan ng pagnenegosyo ng ating mga MSMEs. Ito rin po yung naging panawagan ng Pangulo sa kanyang SONA na tulungan ang mga maliliit na negosyo sa gitna ng krisis ng pagtaas ng presyo ng bilihin, kuryente at krudo. Mr. President, bilang chairperson ng Senate Committee on Trade, Commerce and Entrepreneurship, handa po ang komite na tugunan ang mga pangailangan ng mga maliliit na negosyo na siyang 99% ng lahat ng rehistradong negosyo sa ating bansa. Ito po ang 5-point agenda ng committee upang matulungan ang mga maliliit na negosyo at upang palaguin ang problemado nating ekonomiya. Una po, dagdag suporta para sa MSME. Priority po natin ang amendments sa Magna Carta for MSME at sa Go Negosyo Act. Alam niyo po, nagbago na ang muka ng maliliit na negosyo. Nung una po nating term, nung pinasa ang Go Negosyo Act of 2014, nasa isip po namin ay sari-sari store at karinderya. Pero ngayon po, kasama na sa listahan ng MSME ang mga online seller, ang mga freelancer, ang mga content creator, ang ating virtual assistant at maging mga magsasaka at maliliit na food processor. Kasama rin po sa MSME ang ilang startup, social enterprise at iba pang mga makabagong negosyo. Kaya panahon na pong i-update ang mga batas para i-define ang MSME, para mabigyan sila ng tulong at para matugunan ang mga panibagong pangangailangan at panibagong anyo ng ating micro, small, and medium enterprises. Kasama rin po dito ang pag-amendya sa ating unang batas noong 2014, ang Go Negosyo Act. Layunin po nating gawing mas makabuluhan ang bawat negosyo center para maging tunay na katuwang ng bawat maliit na negosyo at entrepreneur. Palalawakin po natin ang access to capital, access to microinsurance at iba pang suportang kailangan ng ating maliit na negosyo. Pangalawa po sa agenda, panahon na rin pong seryosohin ang creative economy bilang isa sa mga bagong makina ng paglago ng ating ekonomiya. Matagal na po tayong nanonood, nakikinig at natutuwa kapag kinikilala ang mga Pilipino sa pandaigdigang entablado. Mula BINI, SB19, Filipino filmmakers, animators, game developers, Filipino fashion designers, graphic artists, writers, meron pong renewed interest in Filipino culture, food, and creativity. Kaya kailangan po nating suportahan at tulungan ang industriya na ito. Ang inspirasyon po natin ang Coca ng Korea, kung saan saklaw po ng ahensyang ito ang pagpapalaganap ng Korean culture sa buong mundo. Nais po natin makita ang isang ahensya ng ating gobyerno na siyang kumakalinga sa ating Filipino creatives at tumulong sa kanilang expansion dito po sa pandaigdigang entablado. Third agenda po, isang massive local farmer and MSME support and voucher program. Isa po sigurong evolution ng sagip-saka ni Senator Kiko Pangilinan, kung saan ang gobyerno po can leverage its huge budget to buy directly from our local farmers and MSMEs. Ang hangarin po dito ay isang inclusive supply chain na kung saan ang parehas na binibigyan at pinagkukuhanan ay nakikinabang. Kung magamit lang po ng tama ang napakalaking budget ng gobyerno, napakarami pong pwedeng matulungan at mapapanatili pang abot kaya ang mga bilihin. Naisip po natin kung saan pwedeng kunin ang pera. Naisip po namin na pwede pong ma-access ang 300 billion pesos na nakaprogram na ayuda sa ating bansa. Hindi ho ba napakaganda? Tumutulong na nga po tayo sa mga kababayan po natin, yung pinagkukuhanan pa po natin ay natutulungan din. Tuloy-tuloy po yung tulong, pero mismo yung tulong merong ding natutulungan. Ito po isang malaking programa na kung saan ang ating MSME, local agricultural workers mabibigyan ng tulong gamit ang napakalaking budget ng ating gobyerno. Pang-apat po, magsusulong po tayo ng mga reforma para suportahan ang mga industriyang nagpapayaman sa ating bansa. Ito rin po ang mga industriya na kailangan protektahan at palaguin dahil sila po naglilikha ng mas marami at dekalidad na trabaho para po sa ating mga kababayan. Kabilang po dito ang IT BPM industry, ang semiconductor at electronics industry. Kasama rin po ang shipbuilding na kasama sa blue economy. Sa opisina po namin, ang tawag namin sa industriyang ito, mga team payaman, dahil ito po yung mga nagpapayaman sa ating bansa. Panglima po at panghuli, magsasagawa po tayo ng mga pandinig upang solusyonan ang mga nagpapahirap sa buhay ng mga maliliit na negosyo. Ito naman po yung team pahirap. Naghearing na po tayo dito. Naghearing na po ang Blue Ribbon po noon tungkol po sa mga LOA ng BIR. Magsasagawa po tayo ng mga pandinig upang solusyonan ang mga nagpapahirap sa buhay ng mga maliliit na negosyo. Ito naman po yung team pahirap. Naghearing na po tayo dito. Naghearing na po ang Blue Ribbon po noon tungkol po sa mga LOA ng BIR na minsay ginagamit bilang pagkakataon para sa panggigipit at pang-aabuso. Ito po isa sa mga pahirap sa ating maliliit na negosyo. Nandyan po yung FDA kung saan napakabagal ang pagproseso at nagiging hadlang sa pagpasok ng mga produkto sa merkado. Nandyan po yung Bureau of Fire kung saan napakaraming reklamo pagdating po sa di makatwirang inspection fee at yung pagbebenta ng mga fire extinguisher at iba pa. Ilan lang po ito sa mga nagpapahirap sa mga maliliit na negosyo na kailangan na pong itigil at hanapan ng solusyon. Mr. President, alam po natin na pamilyang Pilipino. Ito po ang 5-point agenda ng inyong Committee on Trade, Commerce and Entrepreneurship. Tulong sa mga maliliit na negosyo, panibagong mga programa para sa isang inclusive economy, suporta sa ating creative economy at mga industriyang nagpapayaman at nagbibigay ng trabaho sa Pilipinas at pagtigil ng mga nagpapahirap sa mga negosyante. Ito po yung pangako natin sa bawat maliit na negosyo na araw-araw pong nagsusumikap para sa kanilang pamilya at sa kanilang mga empleyado. Kasama niyo po ang Senado sa paglikha ng mas maraming trabaho, mas maraming oportunidad at mas maunlad na kinabukasan para po sa bawat Pilipino. Maraming salamat, Mr. President, and we hope for everyone's support for these measures. Thank you very
Maraming
much.
salamat, Senator Bam. At yan po ang nakakalungkot. Gobyerno pa mismo nagpapahirap sa mga maliliit nating mga negosyante. Kaya maraming salamat at ito ay pinag-usapan natin. At the sooner we can get that hearing, the better, so that we can help our MSMEs, mga maliliit nating negosyante. Maraming salamat sa privilege speech. Majority Leader?
May I just ask for a minute suspension, Mr. President?
1 minute, session suspended.
Mr. President, I move that we refer the privilege speeches to the Committee on Trade, Commerce, and Entrepreneurship. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the privilege speech is referred to the Committee on Trade.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move as well, Mr. President, to and the Committee on Energy for the speech of Senator Erwin Tulfo.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the privilege speech of Senator Erwin Tulfo is hereby referred to Committee on Energy.
Mr. President, I move that we elect as chairperson of the Committee on Public Works no other than our former Senate President, Tito Soto.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, former Senate President Tito Soto is hereby elected as the chairman of the Committee on Public Works.
And Mr. President, he would like to vacate the position as chairman of the Committee on Electoral Reforms and People's Participation. With the permission of the body, we move to elect Senator Jingoy Estrada as the chairperson of the said committee.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, Senator Jingoy Estrada is hereby elected as the chairman of the Committee on Electoral Reforms.
Yes. And Mr. President, I'd just like to make a reminder to our colleagues to fill up the positions already for the majority and minority in the memberships of each and every one's committee so that we can move forward and continue the legislative process with the committee level.
Yes, we remind our colleagues to please submit to us the members of your committees so we can ready file the committee reports. A lot of committee reports are ready to be filed, but we need the complete membership of the committee. So
Yes, hopefully Monday, Mr. President, we can elect them first hour.
yes. So we'll remind the chairpersons to submit the committee members.
Before we end today's session, Mr. President, I would just like to announce that we have a special guest in the gallery today. He's one of my idols because I'm in the martial arts, field. He's Grandmaster Regan Machado of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu BJJ. He's the Grandmaster and pioneer of the sport in the United States with a 9th degree black belt. He's a red belter, Mr. President. He's here with us today.
Welcome to the Senate of the Philippines and welcome to the Philippines, to our country.
Yes, it's his first time to the Philippines. He's together with Jom Sandoval and Sani Berrueco. He's also the trainer, choreographer of many films, including
Action
John
films.
Wick films, including John Wick, Mr. President.
We also have our own action star here.
Yes.
But he's
He
not
was here earlier.
present now.
So we'd like to welcome him to the Senate, Mr. President.
Welcome
It's
to
an
the
honor.
Senate of the Philippines.
Thank you. With that, Mr. President, just a minute suspension, Mr. President.
Session suspended.
Mr. President, I move with the permission of the body to elect the members of the majority in the Committee on Banks and Financial Institutions and Currencies. Mr. President, the part of the majority, I move that we elect Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Lito Lapid, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, and Senator Erwin Tulfo.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the aforementioned names and senators are duly elected in the Committee of Banks.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move reference to business next week na. With that, Mr. President, I move that we adjourn session until 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday, August 3, 2026.
August,
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Is there any...
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. No? Is there any objection? Hearing none, session is adjourned until August 3, 4 p.m.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Mr.
you.
President.
Thank you very much.
Please let me join your fleet, Captain.
Hold up, you can't even beat level 2.
Wait, I just picked up a solar panel. Boom!